Good afternoon. In today's presentation, I'm going to tell you about the world bond market widely. At first, we will look at the structure of government bonds market and discuss problems of this market. Then we will speak about other segments of bond market, municipal and corporate bonds. I would like to remind you where you can find information about foreign bond markets. On the site of the International Monetary Fund and the Bank of International Settlement, we can look macroeconomic information, data of volume of world bond market, interesting academic papers on bond market. As for information on the US bond market, I can recommend SIFMA.org, where there is a fresh statistics of the US bond market and reviews of different segments of this market. Now you can see the plan of our lesson. Let's go on. What are the main functions of the market of government bonds? First, government must have an opportunity to borrow money from the market in order to close deficit of budget. Second, in developed market, the size of government bond market helps to influence monetary policy. In order to stimulate economy, the government body buys bond, vice versa. To fight with inflation, government sell bonds to the market. Third, the yield of government bond is a risk-free rate. All other types of investment must be more profitable. So the dynamic of this yield influences all segments of financial market. For example, in 17th, Warren Buffett claimed buying bonds with the yield above 10% and not having deals with the stocks. In this picture, we can see the face value of different bond market. Let's remember that the largest bond market is the USA, Chinese, Japanese, and European markets. Further, I will speak about these markets. You can see the importance of treasury market from one case. In 2011 and 2023, rating agencies downgraded US Treasury by big size, the sharp increase and possible problems in medium-term period. What is typical? At first, the US bond market decreased. Lower rating is equal to more risk. The increased free rate influenced the estimation of other market, stock and commodity market decline, but then investors began to buy treasury again. So the yield of treasury bonds had increased after downgrade. It's unusual. And a few words about the structure of the US bond market. The treasury market is the largest, the leading in the structure of US bond market. The volume of this market is equal to 26 trillion. And now we will try to answer the question, is it possible for a state to go bankrupt? We can see the case of the bankruptcy of Greece in 1211. What were reasons of this bankruptcy? The weakening economy, deficit of budget, it reached 8% of GDP, but the government hid this for a long time. The difficult situation with tax collection, the dominance of foreign investors in the structure of investors, and increase of the key rate of the Central Bank of Europe in 2011. Last event made the government claim a default. The government ran out of money. In its research, the International Monetary Fund tried to describe the stages of this crisis. Problem on the bond market created problem for banks, which were the largest bondholders. Sovereign downgraded, increased the cost of borrowing for corporation. Problems of corporations influence the financial position of bank negatively. So banks couldn't give money to the government and couldn't buy government bonds. We have vicious circle and the mutual contamination. What can be done in this situation? At first, Greek government decided to exit the Eurozone and to introduce its national currency drachma. But in this case, the political consequences for all Europe would be dramatic. So, the debt was restructured. Shares of private investors were sold to European government. What is typical, the debt didn't decrease, while the International Monetary Fund insisted on this. But why? The big debt is the big heaven, and now Euro bureaucrats can dictate to Greek government what to do. But as I am sure that this debt will never be paid. The case of Greek crisis is an interesting lesson for everybody. As for a speculator, it gives a possibility to earn big money, but with big risk. As for government, sooner or later, the increase of public debt will lead to crash. But history doesn't teach us anything. And before we move to the treasury markets, a few words about the foreign bonds issued in foreign currency. The world bonds market is divided into two parts: domestic bond, issued in local currency and regulated by national law, and the international bond, issued in foreign bonds. The international bonds consist of foreign bonds and Eurobonds. The market of foreign bonds has volume of 2 trillion, and foreign bonds issued in foreign currency and regulated by the regulator of the country, the issue of this currency. All these bonds are very memorable names: Yankee, Kangaroo, Samurai, and so on. But Eurobond market is much bigger than foreign bonds with 20 trillion. On this market, the issuer can issue the bonds in any foreign currency, but this paper must be registered on exchange. Eurobonds may not be placed on the local market. They are regulated by rules of International Capital Market Association and have cross-border character. It attracts a large amount of money to this market. Equal rules for any issues help it. Before 2022, Russia government and corporation were largest players on this market. But the entrance to Russia issues is closed by sanction now. So Russian corporations have issued so-called substitute bonds.